Let's get right to it. What is your top recommendation for selling professionals selling to the federal government agencies right now?
All right, so this is officially my tryout, I guess. So for me, I've seen a real opportunity for not just sales professionals, but organizations really kind of reinvent our growth strategies right now. I think all of us have spent a lot of time in this industry, and we've had a lot of things that have worked and a lot of things that we've learned from. But what I've seen this year mostly is everyone kind of rethinking things, and that's great opportunities as well. At Amazon, my favorite leadership principle is thinking big, and I think this sales motions that we've experienced this year has really presented an opportunity for us to think even bigger. And particularly at the year-end kind of cycle that we're dealing with right now, oftentimes teams think about, hey, how quickly can I get something sold, and how can we close that deal, to close out the year? And I think that's really important, and we're certainly here, and we're seeing a lot more of a compressed year-end cycle right now. But I don't want to lose sight of the idea to think big with opportunities now. So I've certainly talked to my teams a lot about, hey, there are huge opportunities in front of us now, but opportunities at the year-end fiscal year to really put some bigger ideas in front of customers. Maybe it's a proof of concept, maybe it's a pilot, things that can impact long-term growth, I think are ways to kind of reinvent kind of our growth model right now. So I think my biggest takeaway for teams is put your ideas in front of customers, think even bigger, don't sit on them, and find unique ways to get those messages in front of customers now because they're listening. I think a lot of this has settled now, and there's certainly a lot of opportunity ahead.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the big mistakes. Again, y'all are leaders. What are some of the big mistakes that you've seen sellers to the federal government make?
I like what John just said about the champion. I think some advice I've always given to my teams is champions are great, but champions move around a lot. And you need to be thinking about who's in the bullpen, who's maybe the next one up or the next one, and really curate those relationships. So I think over-focusing on a champion can, if you don't have a backup strategy, can really hurt you. And we've seen this year, right, so many champions maybe that we had in the past have either moved on, maybe they're in different jobs, maybe they've retired. So just over-indexing on your champion can really hurt you unless you have a real firm backup.
Let's talk about that for a little bit. How can a sales professional, to leverage what Lee just said, truly differentiate themselves in today's public sector landscape?
Yeah, I love this topic. We spend a lot of time in sales trying to differentiate our company, our solutions, our value propositions, but turning it back to the actual sales professional is so important, something I love to talk to my teams about. For me, it's always when a sales professional really works hard to earn the trust of their customer. And that's a really natural motion, and that takes time, that takes a team, that takes a lot of different motions. But when you truly earn the trust of your customer, you've really built kind of that relationship that they're willing to call you first. And that's like the highest compliment to me when a customer is willing to call you first or reach out to your company first. And it's not always a problem. It's just maybe something they're thinking about or something they're trying to vet. The other angle here, too, as a sales professional, not just the external differentiation, but it's the internal differentiation. Sales professionals, in many cases, are leading teams. They have a lot of people that support them. So that differentiation of building like a sales culture, that one team approach internally and with your partners is a big deal for me when I see account managers trying to grow their career. The fact that they're willing to create that culture that force multiplies. They don't have to be in every meeting. They've created a culture, a model that supports their customers in a very authentic way. And the last thing I'd say just to differentiate as a sales professional is don't lose sight of how important recognition is internally, right? You have a great customer engagement. Your engineer, your SA has a great presentation. Make sure you're coming back to the office, acknowledging them, reinforcing that to their manager. Those little things build the right culture and trust within your team that makes that flywheel of selling a lot easier.
What should sales professionals talk about and avoid, for that matter, when talking to federal government customers right now?
Touch on a couple of things you already said, but to me, it also comes down to, we've all spoken about being invested in your customer. What I see from account managers who succeed with their customers, they've been so invested that they're personally passionate about the mission outcomes. They're personally passionate about the success of the agency. And when agencies went through a lot of change earlier this year, they were feeling that too, but also in a way that they were speaking the language of the customer and really developing, I would say, really unique value propositions because they understood the language. So, we talked a little bit about, investing in the mission owners, the end users too. I think part of the fun of covering civilian customers is we get to experience as civilians a lot of the outcomes that our agencies do using technology. So that's a big win in itself. It may not be an actual revenue item, but when you see things starting to really change for the agencies that you support in your own personal life, like when you travel and you notice changes and efficiencies with traveling, when you do certain things as a civilian, there's just a personal kind of authentic feel to supporting the mission that's way bigger than a sale. When you've earned that trust and you have that relationship with your customer, it feels like family in those engagements. I was on a sales call earlier this week with one of my account managers who's been with me for a while, and it felt like a family dinner talking to a very senior level government official. And that's the end state that I think all sales professionals aspire to.
What do you think government customers, with your years of experience, really want from the sales professionals today, specifically to help them be more successful? Mike, why don't you start us off with that? Put us into the mind of the government customer.
When we go into our customers now and offer them something that common sense can address something that is particularly of need or focus for the customer, I've seen that be very effective. And I'll even throw our first call out to Gen AI here. This has been great opportunities to talk about something with customers that is all over the space, right? Lots of different Gen AI solutions, lots of different ideas and experimentation. But if you can take a common Gen AI use case, pair it back to your government customer, and even the simplest use case of returning time back to a law enforcement agent to do their real job, right? Reduce paperwork, reduce back office. Those kinds of use cases paired with some early successes you might see in other parts of the government doing a very similar use case kind of pairs back to that common sense idea. And it really is resonating now with this administration, but also just with this new appointees that they can come back with solutions on common sense needs.
What can sellers do to be seen as a more trusted partner rather than just another vendor?
Yeah, I mean, just plus one what Jon said. To me, it's customer obsession. It's not just you as the sales professional. It's the entire line, that from you to the top of the chain to the account team that's with them every day. It's that customer obsession that you will sacrifice anything short term for the benefit long term for the customer. That could easily mean end of the year fiscal cycle, you're passing up an opportunity to sell something, but you're doing it what's right for the mission. You're doing what's right for that agency to be successful. That trust you gain from doing that, the sales will happen naturally for years to come. But that's the hard part, is making sure that you stand by that customer through every moment. And every moment this year has up and down, but you've been there with them. And that's, again, not just you, it's your leadership behind that. It really speaks to that trusted advisor.